Welcome, scholars, to POL452 Organizational Theory and Design. Uh, Earlier in this course, I referenced that I was going to give you some examples of the critical assignment, and instead of giving you as examples, I thought it would be better just to throw a quick little video together for you. I found that in the past is when I gave you previous students examples, I tend to find that all the assignments are then identical. So I don't want that to happen. I still want some originality and some creative thoughts on your part as you put this together. So I'm just going to give you some very basic outlines that go beyond the instructions in the rubric to give you an idea of what I'm looking for. So to begin with, and first and foremost, this assignment is due June 26th. June 26th. So ensure that you have that date. Understand that this is due a few days earlier than our typical assignments, and that's just due to the fact that I need to get all of these assignments graded and grades inputted by certain deadlines. So that this only gives me a few days to give some turnaround. So everything's due on June 26th. So first and foremost, and remember, as you probably would realize, there is no late work available on critical assignments. Anything that's due in week 8, there is no late, no extensions available. These dates are in stone. So keep that in mind. The next, here is just some of the basic instructions. If you looked in, I believe it was maybe week 4 or in week 8 for the directions, you've already noticed this. But what we're going to be referencing is from our designing dynamic organizations, that 5-star model. Remember, we talked about that in week 1, and we're going to reference that again. And so using the 5-star model, we're going to pinpoint what areas would need to be changed in order to facilitate a more effective and efficient working organization. It says you can find additional information in the model in the book, referencing in your syllabus as the recommended reading. So there's a couple words here that I like. I like effective and efficient. And we've talked about that already. You've wrote on that. So we're trying to look at what is going to make your organization more efficient and effective. And us as public administrators or people working in the public and both the private sector, these are the keys that any organization that we're looking for is to be a more efficient and effective. So here we have that 5-star model, and it's based upon these five points. We're going to focus on the people, the strategy, the structure, the process, and the rewards. And just a reminder of what that is, and you can reference once again week 1 and in the book, but that's what we're building upon with this assignment. So I want you to create a narrated PowerPoint to illustrate the change process and identify each specific area that would be affected by your proposed innovation and change. The organization can be a public, private, or nonprofit entity. PowerPoint slides must not exceed 10, and the presentation must have a clear intro and conclusion with founded reasoning. Be sure to include detailed elements from the reading and to cite your sources. The presentation should be between 5 and 10 minutes long, and remember, this is a critical assignment, so that we need to get at least a C in this in order to pass the course. Now, throughout this PowerPoint, I've narrated, or I've highlighted in this kind of orangish, brownish, whatever it looks like to you, color, of things that are critical to me. So I need a narrated PowerPoint. And when I say PowerPoint, that could be any sort of audio visual presentation that you can use. If you're an Apple person with Keynote, I'm okay with that. If you have PowerPoint, I'm great with that. It works seamlessly. But I need a narrated PowerPoint. So not only do you need to put your information on a slide, but then you need to narrate it. So you could do like me, like here, this is a PowerPoint that I just narrate into a video. You can narrate it right in PowerPoint or in Keynote. I put there that it does not want to exceed 10 slides, so I want the information to be somewhat concise, and that your presentation should be between 5 and 10 minutes. I know that's a pretty large variance in those numbers, but what I want you to do is I want you to get the information across. Kind of concise, kind of detailed, and you don't really need to expand on things. I'm looking much more for the quality more than the quantity. You know, a lot of people use the reference of like a elevator conversation. If you haven't heard that before, it's like the concept where if I got on the elevator with you and I asked what your projects, you can get your idea across from the first floor to the 5th floor, and that's what I'm looking at here. Each one of those points of that star, I want a nice, clear, concise to the point, not a whole lot of information. So what I've done is I've just added a few slides in here to kind of go through the order, which I think is logical. But you, once again, you have any way, but if I just, this is the kind of criteria. I added a quick slide here, just this is just working off a PowerPoint slideshow. Record your slideshow, talk into your computer, save it at the end, and upload it as the critical assignment into TaskStream for in week 8. So I know a lot of you are incredibly computer savvy, but that's how we go. And once again, I'm not narrowing it just down to PowerPoint. Whatever software you have would work, but just make sure it's something that is readable on my end and that it is narrated. That's the key. And what I want is I would like it all in one file format. I don't want a PowerPoint with some audio files second, if possible. So I just want it to be nice and streamlined. Even if, as you know, I upload, I'm a big upload it to YouTube person and then embed the link. Even if you want to go that route, anything that will work for me, and if just so that I have something that I can work off of. So if we break down the slides, I need some sort of introduction. So I would logically, you're going to start with your introduction slide, and with your introduction slide, I would imagine that you're going to be describing your organization, the organization that you're looking into change. It could be the organization you work for, a dream organization, a past organization, and really remember we left it wide open: private, nonprofit, public, anything that will work for me. And then remember, if we're looking at the 5 points, remember the first one is strategy. And what you want to do is you want to identify what is your strategy to change both the efficiency and the effectiveness. And this is going to determine our direction. So if you wanted to make or an organization that was more efficient, and if you thought that you were going to introduce technology to make it more streamlined, you're just going to give to me that in order to change my organization, my strategy is to do blank. And that's going to determine our direction. So that would be our first slide in our first model. And once again, I don't want a whole lot of verbiage in these PowerPoints. I want to hear you. That's why I love the narrated portion of it. I want you to explain what you're going to do. So your strategy could be something as simple as introducing technology to improve effectiveness, and then I want you to explain it to me what that slide means in your narration. The second is structure, which determines the location of the decision-making power. So who is going to be the individual that's going to be making these decisions? And that's kind of like a little bit of an organizational chart. Is it going to go from the top down, the bottom up? So your second slide is going to determine structure. The third process, or the third portion of the third model of the 5 steps, is process, which have to do with the flow of information. They are the means of responding to information technology. So the processes. The fourth is rewards and reward systems, which influence and motivate the people to perform and address the organizational goals. The fifth category of the model is made up of policies relating to people, those human resources, that human capital, which you influence and frequently define the employee's mindset and skills. And then we're going to finish it up with the conclusion slide with founding reasoning. So you're going to incorporate that, you're going to come up with a strategy, you're going to incorporate the remaining 4 steps, and then conclude it. So how are we going to be key to our success? Is I want you to introduce your organization. I want you to articulate each of the 5 steps of the model. I want you to conclude with founding reasoning. I want you to stay within the time frames. I would like to see this presented in a scholarly manner, and I would like you to incorporate concepts described within this course. Everything else is referenced in the rubric in week 8. You can see that we have 5 criteria that I'm going to be grading upon, and then from exemplary, accomplished, developing, and beginning, that's our standard grading procedure here in OPS, and that shows you what we're looking for in each one of those columns. So once again, just to reiterate, I want you to introduce your organization. I want you to utilize the 5-star model. I want you to break down each one of those and articulate each one of those to me. Give me a good conclusion, present it in a nice scholarly format, keep it within that 5 to 10 minutes, and try to incorporate some of the readings, some of the concepts from our text. If you have any questions, any comments, anything whatsoever, anything that you have issues with this, please let me know. If you have any issues with the formatting or how you want to deliver this to me, please email me as well. and we can ensure that your model will work well. But once again, a narrated PowerPoint. I want to hear from you. Finally, get to hear what your voices actually sound like. In my head, I always put a voice with each one of you, and now that I can actually hear it, I'll see if I'm accurate or not. So good luck with this. If you have any questions, please let me know, and have a blessed week, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about this. Bye for now.